The past 2 years, the Raw after WrestleMania has been really damn good, and the argument could be made that they were the best Raws of 2011 and 2012. And after a disappointing WrestleMania 29 last night, the pressure was really on the WWE to deliver a third straight Raw after WrestleMania that really knocked our socks off. But the question is ultimately, did they? There were several themes that played out throughout the course of Raw tonight. And you really saw each of those four major elements in the opening segment with John Cena. You really did. You had a hot crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Was this crowd? Yeah. Oh, they somethinged him. Was this crowd hotter and more lively than the Miami crowd last year for the Raw after Mania?
I believe they were, yes.
Not only more hot and lively, they were way more creative.
They were definitely creative. You also had an example of the WWE being out of touch. John Cena's your hero. He's supposed to be. He's your new WWE champion. He beat The Rock at WrestleMania last night. The Rock's not there, and a lot of the crowd there has their beliefs as to why he wasn't there. And yet the crowd's still booing this guy vehemently.
Well, they got behind him at points. He was funny on the microphone.
I guess when he was doing his stupid dance moves.
Well, my heel turn. You also got evidence of new beginnings. Having Mark Henry come out and saying, I'm coming after you, motherfucker. But you also kind of got an element, too, of the crowd passing. I think, passing on John Cena being the WWE champion. That may be news to you, but I don't think that's news to you, is
or
it?
anybody else there, really.
Yeah, it's just...
Who would have thought? Nobody's buying John Cena as the champion. Big surprise.
Well, nobody bought the last two guys either.
But this segment, if nothing else, did one thing. It set all of these themes into motion throughout the course of the night of the hot crowd, the WWE at times being out of touch, having new beginnings, the crowd passing on certain things. It was all started here and then just played out throughout the course of the night. One of the themes of the night, obvious to anyone that was watching, was this hot crowd. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were awesome. This is a smarter crowd, a post-WrestleMania crowd. They were into this show, and two things they were really in favor of all night were heels in general, minus one or two exceptions, and Attitude Era guys.
Yes.
And what happened between Fandango and Chris Jericho kind of encapsulates this. Fandango. The crowd loved Fandango.
For whatever reason, I still don't
They
understand.
fucking loved him. What was it? At one point in time, they were humming his damn song.
They were.
So Fandango's out there, and then all of a sudden, here comes Chris Jericho attacking him, and the crowd totally goes batshit like this. It was awesome. You got a heel who they were behind, and an Attitude Era guy who they were behind, and it was really an awesome segment. And I thought it was perfectly touched off when Jericho played to what was going on. And he went and tried to put the hat back on JBL. Yeah, I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah.
But it was just...
He got it.
It was one of those bizarro world nights that you would expect in a Chicago or a Philly or in a New York, New Jersey type of area. Mm-hmm. And what happened with Fandango and Jericho, frankly, was awesome.
Right.
It really was.
Now, if we could just bottle that and take that to other arenas, that would be awesome. But I don't know if we're going to get that.
One of the big themes tonight was that the crowd was just passing on certain people.
There was quite a few that they passed on.
Like Kurt Warner, and I will be passing on his new show.
Oh, yeah. I think we
I'm not watching that.
Kofi Kingston was another one.
Yeah, the fans didn't even reach out their hands for him. He had to go to him.
He went to go shake their hand, and nobody put their hand out. That was good stuff.
They passed on Biggie Langston, and they really passed on the fact that he beat Daniel Bryan.
They did. They also passed on Zack Ryder. They also passed on three-man band.
I don't understand how anybody could pass on the three-man band. I mean, come on, they play air guitar.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted type shit.
Thank God it's air guitar.
But yeah, Zack Ryder out of that group of Santino and R-Truth was the one that they most passed on.
And you would figure that they would get behind him, but they didn't.
It's true.
Yep.
One thing that I often say about the WWE, you say it too, because it's true. The WWE is out of touch with their audience.
Absolutely.
There is no question about that. And you see evidence of that throughout the course of the show tonight. The Cena segment at the beginning is one example. You could even argue when you get to the major belt change that happened tonight, that's another example of them being out of touch. but that's a more positive thing. So we'll focus on the one glaring example of all glaring examples on this show of the WWE being out of touch.
First of all, we're going to have a Twitter war to see who's going to fight the Big Show. We're going to let you vote. But then we're not going to let you care, or we're not going to care what you say.
I mean, because this is set up, Sheamus and Orton, this all plays off of what happened at Mania last night. And you have Sheamus try to get the match with Brad Maddox. He tried to make it happen. Where Orton goes to Booker T. You get to this Twitter thing, like you said. Orton clearly wins. And then they clearly just totally fucking disregard this and say, we're going to now have a match between these two for whatever fuck reason. And I think it was at this point in time that New Jersey crowd said, no, up yours.
They Rybacked him one time.
Man, they Rybacked this entire match. Sheamus and Randy Orton were going out there, and quite frankly, I don't even remember 95%, 98% of what happened in this match.
The only thing that stands out in this match is the crowd not caring about this match.
They were chanting for RVD, JBL, Jerry the King Lawler.
Michael Cole got a chant going.
They cut to commercial. When they came back, they started the Michael Cole chant again. They're chanting for Randy Savage. They were chanting for just about every fucking bunny but the Easter Bunny, for God's sakes. And it got to the point, you know the WWE is out of touch with their audience when two of the top baby faces on SmackDown, even with ADR having the belt, you could argue that for them, Randy Orton and Sheamus are two of their top 3 or 4 faces in the entire company. The crowd doesn't care about their match.
And you know Vince is back there seething. He has big plans for one of these two guys to go against the Big Show, probably both of them, at Extreme Rules to have a big Extreme match, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about Sheamus.
This is where the WWE has to listen to their audience. They don't care about Randy Orton as a face. They don't care about Sheamus, frankly, at all.
And they don't care about Big Show as a heel.
Because when Big Show comes out and he starts laying waste to Sheamus and then Randy Orton, the crowd is chanting, thank you, Big Show. Big Show of all people.
Absolutely. The only thing in the match that stuck out to me was Sheamus's face laughing pretty much at people with their chanting, and Randy Orton getting pissed because he's not getting attention.
I mean, I will say this, is he found a really long gopher hole when Big Show was dragging him. But the only disappointment I have with the Big Show, and this is where you have to, I think sometimes, I know it's easier for us to judge when we're watching, but you are ultimately appealing to us and people like us. You have to be able to adjust to what's going on and saying, fuck it, this is the plan. I know I'm supposed to lay out Randy Orton more. I've thrown 2 chairs. Obviously, the crowd is fucking reacting. I've got JBL's chair. I'm going to go throw fucking JBL's chair.
But what did he do? He fucking walked away. They're chanting, throw one more chair, as he's walking up the ramp, and he just fucking
So the
ignores it.
WWE in this segment managed to completely disregard the fans' vote on Twitter. They managed to put 2 baby faces in a match that nobody gave a fuck about and managed to make the Big Show look like the hero in this segment.
The only people that drew an audible or called an audible was the announcing team when they're commenting on what everybody else is chanting.
Your commentators that you're feeding from the gorilla position with stuff to say gave up on the fucking match. They didn't care. They understood. They were audibling. Pay attention, WWE. You're out of touch with your audience, and this match, above all else, was the perfect example of that this week. But it was hilarious to see.
You out there might call it nitpicking, but I got something for you.
Well, Metal D, Tony, one more major theme we saw play out throughout Raw this night were new beginnings.
Very new. Yes, absolutely.
Out with the old, in with the new.
I completely agree.
I know you do, Metal D. I know you do. And the first new beginning, after a whole 24 hours-ish time frame of being IC champion, Miz isn't champ anymore. Wade Barrett is. How about that?
A long one-day run.
Yeah, I guess to keep some type of WrestleMania streak going. Who the fuck knows? It was a good match, though.
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah, it was. It just, why do it for one day, Tony?
I don't know. It was puzzling.
I don't think he really cares about this at all, does he?
No.
He's probably going to go yerkin the jerk into something else.
I only care about what other people say about the show.
No, twice? All right, so ADR had a handicap match against Swagger and Coulter, only to have ADR win any fucking ways. And at that point in time, you're like, what the fuck? That's really what I thought. What the fuck? You had to think something was coming. And the way ADR was selling to me, you're like, oh, something's got to be happening. And
then suddenly, we finally got what we've been asking for.
What's that, Tony?
Ziggler came out and he cashed in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and I know that made you happy. You said twice you yerked it off. Twice. I wonder if anybody else is in competition with you. Now, Metal D, did you like the fact that even though ADR was hurt, there was no interference once Ziggler cashed in? He actually wrestled the match clean, so to speak.
Well, I liked it because everybody else in the stadium liked it, and I thought it was a good thing for him. So, people will like me because I'm saying things like this.
My only question about this, Dolph Ziggler, new World Heavyweight Champion, the crowd was batshit for this. And this kind of shows you that maybe it is time to turn him babyface.
It'd be nice.
It's a smarter crowd, so maybe they like him more.
Maybe if the fans out there like it, I'd like it too.
Yeah, but here's my question for you, Metal D. Shouldn't they have done this last night at WrestleMania in a show that most everyone agrees lacks surprises, lacks shocking moments, Tony? Don't you agree, Metal D, that this would have been a huge moment? This would have been Dolph Ziggler's big WrestleMania moment and would have been something memorable from an otherwise forgettable show?
Well, it would have been, but they did it quite nice, tonight. It was a good surprise and a good kickoff, new beginning. People will like this, is what I'm saying.
Metal D has a very talkative streak to him now. What about you, though, Tony? Are you a little disappointed that if 16,000 people pop for him like this, imagine what 5 times the audience would have done for him last night?
I have nothing creative to say because, I just can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
I got you. It wouldn't be the first time you did that. After this, you come back from commercial, and right around the time the national title game is going to tip off, Tony, they put The Undertaker in this spot for a reason, basically.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't put him in the 8:15 to 8:30 quarter-hour slot. But this was a really good segment, too. It was short, sweet, to the point, and helped out some young guys along the way.
The Shield, and then out came Kane and Daniel Bryan. Wow.
And maybe this will be a 6-man tag at Extreme Rules, and this is a good way to do it. I know Mike's talked about quite a bit the fact that he thinks Taker is going to have one last little mini run here of a couple of shows. A good way to hide him, wouldn't it be, Metal D, is have him in a 6-person tag. He only has to wrestle a couple minutes at Extreme Rules.
No, I think the people would like that a lot. It's kind of like, giving Rob Halford a break when there's a guitar solo during a Judas Priest concert. So, you kind of help him stay around a little bit longer and enjoy the show.
I got you. One last new beginning. The Cena Mark Henry match at the end, frankly, was terrible. It was very short, and the way it ended was kind of like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what it set up, it really set up Ryback and John Cena. And it sucked the crowd in because the crowd wanted this. They wanted Ryback to attack Cena. Then he didn't, and they were pissed. Then you were almost maybe left with the thought of that Cena was going to do something. But then Ryback decided that he was going to do something, Metal D, and I know you had to like this.
Hashtag Rybacking. Show him, Tony.
That was a fucking awesome way to end this very interesting show.
That is a fine sweater.
It smells like old balls. Anyway. Final thoughts on the show. I thought it was great from top to bottom. The crowd was hot. I just wish every crowd was like that, so even the worst Raws would look good. What do you think?
I think this was way better than WrestleMania.
Let's bottle this one up and hope for the best.
The joys of Undertaker and Triple H both winning at Mania was too much for his heart to handle. We can rebuild him. We have the technology to make him better, stronger, faster, louder.